So we start the game and meet our main character Lee, who's on a court-mandated Uber ride for allegedly beating up a senator. Since this game is taking place in the South, the driver is clearly drunk out of his mind, so he ends up crashing the car.
Get him up, let him get up, let him get up, let him get up. Fight back, nigga! Fight back, nigga! Fight back! Fight back!
After a quick little nap, we wake up and see the chance to escape, so we kill the driver and flee the scene once we start to get swarmed by the local crack addict. We find a house which we immediately loot. While doing so, we find a Pokemon up in a tree. On our way to go catch it, someone else tries to take what's ours, so we send that bitch to the Shadow Realm. We capture the Pokemon, which turns out to be an orphan, so we nickname it Clementine. In front of the house, we find Sean, who kidnaps us and takes us back to his family ranch. Once we get there, he throws us into his barn. We wake up the next morning to meet Kenny and his soon-to-be-dead wife and son, Katja and Duck. Turns out they have crackheads in the middle of nowhere too, because they get to Sean, forcing us to flee the scene again. At a nearby town, we find Larry, Lily, Glenn, useless fucking Doug, and Carly, one of the only characters I actually care about in this game, hiding out in a pharmacy. We sneak out to a motel to have a quickie with Carly, but on the way there, we find Glenn trying to get some cooch of his own. So we help him sneak through some crackheads, but instead of wanting her back blown out, she gets her brains blown out as she shoots herself in the head. Saying that kind of killed the mood, so we just go back to the pharmacy. Turns out the pharmacy is now crawling with crackheads, so we offer Doug as a sacrifice and we get the rest of the group to the motel. Glenn leaves. Hopefully he doesn't get beaten by a crazy guy with a bat later on, I don't know. Alright, so flash forward a few months, Lee is hunting out with the newest member of our group, Mark. But instead of finding any food, all they find is Ben, his soon-to-be-dead friend, and his teacher who has his leg stuck in a bear trap. So, we assess the situation and we do the reasonable thing and cut that thing off in Anyways, we take them back to the camp where we humanely put the teacher out of its misery. Immediately after this, we're approached by the family from Texas Chainsaw Massacre to come play Farming Simulator, so Lee and Mark go do that. We have fun doing that until some angry trick-shotters pull up and shoot Mark with an arrow. We head back and wait for the family to treat Mark, so we go out with one of the family members to get revenge for Mark by quickscoping a random lady in the head. After a while, the rest of the group comes for dinner. But unfortunately for Mark, he was used as emergency food a little too early. So naturally, the cannibals are mad that we ruined dinner, so they hold us hostage. We wake up in a freezer and Larry has a heart attack, so we put him down with a giant G Fuel tub. Code Solo, let's make it happen. We loot Larry's dead body so we can send our Pokemon up into the vent and she can get us out. Right after we get out, we find one of the cannibals and he accidentally falls onto our pitchfork. At the house, we save Cat with an assist from a cracked out Mark. We deal with the last cannibal by punting that fucker like a ball into the electric fence. On the way back, we loot a car filled with supplies. Yeah, I'm just gonna say, fuck this episode. Specifically that goddamn train. All you need to know is the ops run up to the camp, resulting in crackheads taking a bite out of Duck. Lily kills Carly, so we kick her out of the group. Rest in peace, Carly, she's going in the Hall of Fame. We adopt a homeless man named Chuck and take his train. Turns out cats don't actually have 9 lives because Katja ends up killing herself. Immediately after that, we smoke some Duck and continue on the train until we find the other character I care about, Omid, and his useless wife, Krista. Ben sees that the crackheads were coming to ask for some spare change again, so we blow up the bridge so they can't get to us. Turns out Clementine has been talking to some strange guy in Discord through a walkie-talkie, and he happens to be in Savannah, which we're headed to. Once we get to Savannah, we send Chuck to cover us while we find a house so Omid can rest because he hurt his leg falling off a train. I forgot to mention that earlier, so I'm just going to throw that in here. Lee and Kenny go look for a boat, which is something Kenny's been wanting to do all game, but once they get there, it turns out there's no boats, so it never really mattered anyways. But we do find a girl named Molly and swiftly beat her ass. But she beats Kenny's ass, so we'll call it even there. Clementine pops up for some reason, and we get surrounded again. They get up onto the fire escape, and we get stuck on the ground, so we pull a Mario and hop into the sewers, where we find Chuck getting eaten out. After that awkward scenario, we walk into a room full of cancer patients who can help fix Omid's leg. So we kidnap a couple of them and nickname them Nurse Joy and Snorlax and take them back to the house. Turns out Kenny did end up finding a boat, it just needs a new battery, and the cancer patients we kidnapped are missing a few supplies, so we loot the local elementary school. We get what we need, but these kids are still being fed Michelle Obama's lunch plan, so they try to eat us because we have nutritional value. We use Snorlax as a distraction so we can escape. Once we get back, Nurse Joy fixes Omid, and Clementine wants to learn teleport. So we let her, which turns out to be a bad move because now we don't know where she is, but she probably went somewhere with Nurse Joy. We try to go looking for her, but a crackhead catches us lacking and we get infected. We leave with Krista, Omid, and Ben to go find Clementine. We get to the cancer patient's hideout again, only to realize they aren't there and the strange Discord man has her. We try to leave, but the crack-infected wound knocks us out. Seeing that this might be a little bit of a problem, we do the logical thing and cut off Lee's arm. The usual happens, we almost die a couple of times, other shit like that. We make it back to see that our boat got stolen by the cancer patients, and we get swarmed for like the 19th time in this game, so we flee to the attic. We make Omid use Rock Smash on the wall while Kenny, Lee, and Krista down shots like they're at the GTA strip club. After Omid gets the wall down, most of us jump over to the next building, but Ben falls, so we go with Kenny to go get him. Once we start to get swarmed again, we leave them both out there. It's not like any of them are going to make it out to snitch on us, right? I just realized that somewhere along the way we lost Molly. Anyways, we leave with Krista and Omi to make it to where Clementine is being held. We find out that the guy who's been talking to her is EDP back to doing what he does best, and he's also the guy we stole from a while back. We start to fight EDP, but it turns out he has hands. Right before he can kill us, Clementine pops him in the head. We violate a corpse so we can maneuver our way through the crackheads, and we faint. We wake up in a random store and realize it's too late, and the crackhead's already done too much damage to our body. We teach Clementine to always hate security guards, and then right after we do that, she